Hey there people, it's been a long time in the making, man. A long time your boy been away, but I'm back. Why? Because we finally come full circle once again. We're officially in Mortal Kombat season, man, and I couldn't be more thrilled to return to the scene. I've seen a lot of people prematurely hop on the hype train, and that's cool, man. But fair enough, we're literally just like a month or so away from a revealed trailer, so it's definitely the time to start getting hyped. No question about that. And luckily, what do you know? I conveniently have some pretty solid reasons, right? Why you guys should start hopping on the hype train if you haven't already, but I should be cautious with my words. Let me rephrase that. Don't be hyped. You're allowed to be cautiously optimistic. Yes, that's the perfect wording I should use. Because if there's anything this console generation has taught us, it's that hype is no good for the consumer, neither the developer. Anyway, out of all the reasons I have to get you guys excited, there's one reason in particular that deserves a video of its own. So here's why I'm personally excited as hell for the grand sequel to MKX. The first reason being is that we're potentially going to have a roster larger or equal, but maybe slightly smaller than Mortal Kombat Armageddon of 2006. Bold prediction on my part, I understand that, but I have solid reasons for having this belief, so hear me out. First reason being is that they already have 40 plus animated fighters, stemming from all the work they've done since Mk9 in 2011 to MKXL in 2016, and 50 plus characters who have made appearances in the rebooted trilogy like Fujin, and Frost. So in the past couple of years, they've basically already done the majority of work for themselves, in comparison to the days when they had to conceptualize, design, animate, and create backstories for all these fighters. So the reason for me having the belief that they'll make the roster this huge is simply because they already have these characters fully created and ready for use at a moment's notice. Well, I shouldn't say a moment's notice, but they've already made them. They're tangible things, they're assets already made and ready for use, like I just said. Now, the second reason is that with MKX having the variation system, a lot of brainstorming had to go into making all that a reality. All their best ideas have basically already been exhausted when it comes to creating movesets for most of the roster in MKX. To throw all that away, all that hard work, would be crazy on their part. That's a lot of resources. So yes, I'm even suggesting dead fighters like Melina would return. They won't even need to be in the story mode, so let's look at Goro, Tremor, and Tanya as an example for characters in the MK universe showing up in the roster but not being in the story mode, you get me? But as a side note, I do have a theory for how Melina and other quote-unquote dead characters can return in canon, but that's a discussion for another day, most definitely. Next reason I anticipate a gigantic roster is sadly microtransactions. Injustice 2 introduced the gear system, and I expect a version of it in Mk11. With a gigantic roster, that means us gamers would have a lot of gear to unlock, skins to get, different color shaders to buy for the overwhelming amount of fighters that will be in the game. And with us being overwhelmed by the scale of things to buy and unlock, and the time it'll take to get these things, guess what? They'll have these little shortcut unlock bundles ready for us to purchase. So there's definitely monetary reasons for making the roster as large as possible. And Warner Brothers, who are NetherRealm's publisher, has been dabbling with putting microtransactions all over their games, especially in 2017. Just look at Middle-earth Shadow of War for a perfect example. MK has become a top 3 franchise for that specific publisher, so they will definitely make it a mandate to get some form of microtransactions in that game. MK11 I'm speaking about. They tested the waters in Injustice 2, merely to gather consumer data in my opinion, and now that they've seen our spending patterns and what we like and we don't like about microtransactions in a fighter, especially one developed by, the NetherRealm, they'll now refine it and dish it back out to us in full force. Now the counter argument is that having a gigantic roster will require a lot of balancing. Especially in this day and age, you can't just put out a game and if it's bad, if it's good enough, you can just let it be. You have a cop out that's like, we can't do anything. If the game is a little broken, you just gotta live with it, In this day and age, man, the consumer's not having that. We want our patches. Patch that stuff right now. right? But then again, right, with the pro scene being a thing, right, the biggest problem in that around games is that the top guys, like the top 5, top 3 guys, there's always like 3 main characters they use for like an entire year. Right? But with having a gigantic roster, that gives the pro scene so much more, you know, life, so much more matchups to see and witness and to guess and wonder where it will go. The pro guys are gonna love it, in my opinion, right? They're gonna have so many options, especially if they have a gigantic roster along with a variation system. Oh my god, that's so much content. That's mind-blowing. I don't like, dude, that just alone gets me hyped. Variation system on top of a 50+ character roster. Dude, I don't see how I would get bored. How would I get bored, man? Anyway, that's my primary reasons why I believe this roster is going to be comparable, and especially if they do introduce another batch of new characters. And I'm suspecting and I'm hoping that the new characters they introduce are the Ancestors and the first Mortal Kombat tournament, you know, attendees for Earthrealm, and we go back to explore the ancestors of Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and how they won their very first Mortal Kombat tournament. I think it's about time we get some solid, like a solid visit to that time period. They already did the present, they already did the future. It's time to do the past, and really do the past. Anyway, man, that's my thoughts, right? This is my speculation. Let me hear if you guys agree, and if you would like my speculation to become a reality. Much more topics to come in the next weeks in preparation for the grand reveal of Mortal Kombat 11. And I really hope they don't name it Mortal Kombat 11. That'd be lame, to put it bluntly. But yeah, man, this has been your boy JAK. It's good to be back. I'll see you guys around, man. Peace out.